Another month, another pack of free assets from the Unreal Engine marketplace, and the first one we're gonna have a look at is the Easy Texture Creator. So basically this is this makes you create a separate project, which then allows you to generate all kinds of textures. So let's go to the etc folder, maps, and here we have a bunch of presets already ready for us to experiment with them. So let's go ahead, let's take the ground one. And let's experiment with this one. Or ground 2, was it? There was one that I really seemed to be pretty cool. No, that's not it. Can't seem to find what I was looking for. Anyway, so I have this one over here. So this is what it looks like, the map level itself. And here we have all kinds of different things that we could adjust. So let's say we select this guy right here. It has a bunch of details over here, and we can adjust the height levels and all that stuff. So for example, we bump this up to like 11, you will see that this just got a lot more spikier because that one got lifted up. As you can see, we can do all kinds of weird things with this. Like, I'm not good when it comes to like these visual things, textures and all that stuff, so you will see me just mess things up and make them uglier than what they were before, but that's just me messing things up. As always, obviously, if you know what you're doing, you will probably be able to create a lot of cool stuff. So here in the road 1 map, for example, we can create all kinds of roads. So in this example right here, they have a bunch of splines that will identicate where to draw the line. So if we bring this to over here, it's going to redraw the line over there. We can move these around, mess with these quite a bit, and it's going to automatically regenerate the textures for us. Now, what you're supposed to technically do is go to your window, and then we have the editor utility widgets, and you need to pop both of these open. So let's go ahead, let's do that. Let's open one of them. Let's open the other one. Here we go. So essentially, the preview window is this location right here, so this camera. So if I move this, you can see that that moves as well. So that will allow us to have a look at the material all the time, and here we can do all kinds of adjustments. And also over here in the main menu, we can do all kinds of adjustments as well. So for example, we have the lines. Let's say we have the color hardness. We can adjust those values, mess with them quite a bit. It's going to tell us how to draw them. We have a fall off, all kinds of weird things. So as you can see, I'm just making it worse as I go, but that's just me. Obviously, if you know how to make these things look good, you're going to be probably able to make all kinds of pretty cool things. One thing that I did enjoy about this is that, yeah, it's like a PBR material, I guess. So it creates you these uneven surfaces, which will make it look a lot more realistic. Obviously, as you can see, I'm failing badly with this, but there's a bunch of different type of things that we can do to make all kinds of adjustments for this. So we have the small rocks texture right here. We can also randomize the seed to make it look a little bit different, as you can see. Here we go. So I'm no expert. I'm not claiming to be any expert. I'm a little bit clueless about what technically I'm supposed to do to make this look good. I'm just making it look bad, as you can see. I'm just messing it all up by changing these values. But if you know what these values do and you make textures and you do all that stuff, then this tool could be pretty cool to you, because once you're done with your material, so let me just go back to something that I have not messed up yet. So this one right here. So as you can see, they're using all kinds of things. They're placing these shapes down to make like a pipe in the ground, as you can see over here. So you can mess with this quite a bit. You can also move these objects around like I showed you with the lines as well. It should be doing something different. I guess it's not doing anything different with this object specifically. But again, we can randomize the things, make them look a little bit better. And then once we are done with whatever we're doing over here, we can go hit the final and we can save the textures. So it's going to bake the materials for us, the textures. It's going to take a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. And once you're done, it brings you to your final folder. and it gives you all of these textures, and you can make a material out of this and then start using these. Now this is pretty cool. Obviously, if you know what you're doing, I have no clue what I'm doing, so I'm probably not going to be learning this. Yeah, if you're still with Unreal Engine 4 and you know what you want to do and you think this is really cool, I think then it's worth having a look, because yeah, it can give you some incredible results. Now that's it. Let's go ahead, let's close this one down. Let's have a look at the next one, which is the custom shape volumes. So this thing right here allows you to create all kinds of custom shaped volumes, as you can see, using splines. So we have, what do we have over here? Let's have a closer look. So we have this spline right here, which is this is the audio volume. This is the name volume. Where is the post-process? There was a post-process volume as well. Is it this one that I cannot seem to hit? No, I guess it's not. Anyway, you can select these volumes and you can shape those out by editing the splines. As you can see, you can reshape this to whatever you want it to be like, and then it's gonna work just like any other regular volume. But this one, well, with this one you can specify what exactly it needs to do. So go to the default folder, custom volumes, and you have the BP duplicate me volume. So that's what you want to do. You want to duplicate this one. There we go. Pop that open, and inside of here we have some pre-made things with a bunch of explanations. You can go through them, read them. You can set up the fade range update, so whatever happens when the range gets updated, maybe some volumes get higher or something changes depending, because if you would select any of these volumes, I think you can enable that. Yeah, you can visualize the fade. So this is the fade. So over here it's going to be like the max effect in this volume inside of it, and then there's a fade range outside of the volume itself, which will fade in the audios, fade in the colors, whatever is the thing that you might want to fade in. Obviously for audios you can use the attenuations as well. You don't necessarily have to have these volumes. We can visualize the height as well, because it goes upwards as well, as you can see. So it creates the effect up and down from that location. So it does the same thing over here. We can visualize the height from this guy. So whenever we go higher or lower, it's going to change it. We're probably capable of changing the range somewhere as well. Not quite sure exactly where. Oh, there it is. So here is the height. We can adjust that. So maybe I shouldn't have dragged it. Maybe I should have typed in the numbers. It's often a lot better to type rather than drag, because it sometimes glitches. There we go. So as you can see, that changed that a bit. There we go. So also on the marketplace site, they have a full playlist with information and tutorials. There's 12 videos in there. So if you consider using this custom shapes plugin, not the plugin, but well, this is a separate project with these blueprints, then well, consider going through all of their tutorials, because there's probably a bunch of more information what and how you are supposed to do with these. So real quick, this is a playable demo, so we can have a look what they have achieved with this plugin. This did open a lot quicker before. Oh, yeah, the funniest thing is I think that the creator made these sounds with his mouth, so pew 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 pew. So that's funny. So yeah, there's volumes that will tell you what is your location, and then if we go over here, we have these guys. Oh, I should have disabled the visualization on this guy, because that's not what we're here for. We don't want to visualize these. It's a no-no. I think those door opening sounds are also made with his mouth. At least that's what it sounds like. So let's go ahead, let's shoot these zombies. So as you can see, here is that range thing that I was speaking of, that fade in. So if we get closer, the color is starting to change to green, and whenever we're really close, it's super green like it's supposed to. And the same thing I think works for the audio as well. Right, so that's cool. I can't get over this. This is so funny. Anyway, so there's also like the colors change depending on your height. So because you saw there was a bunch of volumes, that will change the post-process. So those are the post-process volumes. So the higher we get, the different type of color we get, just like the post-process would. Oh, and we fell. Yeah, that's about it. So you can customize these, create your own. So you can just drag that in. Boom, we have the splines, and Now let's see, we can probably somehow change the path clamp between 1 and 0. Alt. Yeah, so hold Alt and drag and you're gonna get yourselves another point. And then you can make all kinds of weird shape if you wanna. So you can make a shape like this. There we go. That's a weird shape, but you get the point. So you can create all kinds of weird types of volumes with this. This might come in quite handy. It totally depends, obviously. Usually I'm just good with the default shapes, with the cylinders, boxes, spheres, all that stuff usually seems to work just fine for me. But obviously there could be some occasions where this thing could be a lot more useful. Yeah, in the one of the previous videos where I showed you the volumes that are spawning the foliage, this thing could come in quite handy with that, I'm assuming, if we can manage to combine these. But other than that, yeah, like I'm personally not going to be using this. I don't see a big purpose in this because, like I said, I'm pretty good with just the default shapes. But maybe somebody can find a use for this. There was another place that we could use, so real quick, let's run through there. We have this foggy place. I guess I missed it because, oh, it's way over there. See, it's probably going to be the same effect. It's just going to get blue instead of green. There's again a bunch of zombies and all that stuff. So yeah, have a look if you're interested in custom shaped volumes. Let's go to the next one. So the next one, let's have a look at the magic circles creator. So we have a level over here. Let's go ahead and let's open up the demo level to see. So this the learning levels are in English and in Russian. I know quite a few Russian people are watching my channel, so that's good for you guys. You can read this in your native language as well. So probably then the creator is Russian as well. So let's give it a couple of seconds to render these things in. These should be supposed to be like the creational thingies, so we can like create these on our own essentially. So there's a bunch of effects that you can see over here. All of them are looking pretty cool. So these kind of remind me of some particle effects, but these are not really like particle effects, kind of. So if we open up the blueprint on the construction script, on the event graph, there is a bunch of things going on. So I'm not quite sure if this is the way to go exactly. Maybe if I would watch a couple of like the tutorials and such, then maybe this would make a lot more sense to me. But essentially this still requires you to have all the same properties as you would have in a particle system, because it does really like create those particle effects and spawn them. It's just that it's getting ran through the blueprint and it has all those properties over here, and then you would have to learn what exactly this guy did. Obviously if you like the effects themselves, well then it's quite easy to adjust those, because we could change a lot of parameters from right here. So we have the custom mesh shapes, so those are for the cylinder around it, so we could change that maybe into a, I don't know, whatever this shape is. I think I just killed it. There we go. So you can see that changes the effect quite a bit. If we add a ramp, as you can see, so whatever shape you set up for it, then it's gonna retake that specific shape. Right now it's like a circle around it. Over here we have this shape right here, and if we change that to whatever these things are, so this is a cube, then that effect actually went away completely. There we go. So now we change that into a cube, so we can change these meshes and get different kinds of shapes. We can obviously change the colors as well, as you can see. So that is quite quick and simple to adjust already existing effects. I'm not quite sure how it would be if you would start to create like your own type of things, because essentially these are still particles. So if you are pretty quick with learning this thing, then maybe it's pretty cool. Other than that, I think it's still like the regular particles and Niagara is the way to go, because that technology and configuration and layout and all that stuff is gonna stay. This one, well, who knows how long it's gonna stay. If they update this and make this even better with more different types of these effects, then maybe. Other than that, yeah. So as you probably noticed throughout this video, I'm not too excited about all of these things, obviously, because, well, my channel mostly is about survival games, inventory stuff, all that type of things. So probably I'm not gonna be using these effects. Probably a lot of my viewers aren't going to be using these effects, because this thing has nothing really to do inside of the survival game world, where the things are a little bit more realistic and not so much of a fantasy type of thing. But as you can see, if you like these specific effects, then it's a good way, good idea to maybe grab these, because as you can see, it's really quick to change the colors. It happens pretty much instantly. You can give this all kinds of masks so that the textures around it would be floating different textures. So let's say we grab like these circle thingies. As you can see, the changes are really quick and really simple to be made. You can get all kinds of different effects out of it. So yeah, if you want to have like a boost effect that will give you some shields, then this is the way to go. If you want to have a boost that will give you some damage, then I guess this is the way to go. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get to the next one, which is the stylized Nature's Pack Volume 2. So essentially, if some of you got the package from the last week, which was the stylized forest pack, I'm assuming, I think this could go together with that one pretty well. So yeah, like I said, this looks like it could be pretty good with the other pack. Obviously, it does look a little bit different. Those were a little bit more like round-shaped trees. These are looking a little bit more realistic when it comes to like the shape of the entire leaf part of the tree. But other than that, like the ground looks pretty similar. The coloring, all that stuff, the models look very, very similar. This one has some pretty cool water material, as you can see. Looks pretty dope. Obviously, if you zoom in on it, looks a little bit different. But other than that, looks pretty cool. We have this waterfall with some effects. I think this is particles. Yeah, looks like a particle. So it does something. This thing right here is a blueprint. Let's see if that's the waterfall. No, that's not the waterfall. That's the fog card. How do we select this one? There we go. So this is a texture on a oddly shaped model. So this is what it looks like essentially. Looks pretty cool. The material itself, I think, should be pretty simple. Let's pop that open. This is the instance. This is the instance. Water base, water moving. This one. There we go. This is nothing too crazy. Okay, maybe a little bit out of my league, kind of. Not too much, obviously, but still, I'm not the greatest when it comes to materials, coloring, and all that pretty stuff. All I know is how to put two booleans together. Anyway, so we have this spline lake over here. We have a bunch of foliage. We have some mountains, as you can see over there. What is this? Cube for the outer edges of the map. Can we see that if we hit play? No, so those I guess are hidden. Anyway, so yeah, we have a bunch of shrooms, flowers, all kinds of interesting stuff, some rocks. There's no collision on them. That's probably because it's just a foliage painter. And I forgot to turn on the collisions. That's not a big issue. That's easily fixable. But if you downloaded the previous pack with stylized forest assets, I think this one will go really well together with that. So there's a bunch of stems, whatever, like the tree leftovers essentially. Some rocks with some odd symbols, mushrooms, all kinds of stuff like that. Let's have a quick look at the showcase map. See all the models essentially. So we have a bunch of trees with different colors, like so. We have a couple of mountain models for the background. What's the polygon count? Vertices 8,000, not bad for such a big model. This one right here is the other one, 7.5, not bad at all. We have a rainbow. Okay, that's cool. You can use that. A bunch of trees. What's the poly count? 7.5, 10, 9.5, 10.5, 4.5, 4.5. That's pretty good. Yeah, so it's a little bit even lower than the previous pack from the last month. We have a bunch of rocks, all kinds of different weird shapes. We have all kinds of different bushes. The leaves are very animated for all of them, so that's cool. That gives this more of a realistic look to that whole thing instead of it just being a flat, boring one. So the vertices are very low on this one. This is way lower than the previous pack that we had previous month. Some shrooms over here, all kinds of, so 6 shrooms in total. A bunch of flowers, only 5 vertices. That's pretty good. There we go. So that's nice. We have a bunch of different smaller rocks, bigger rocks. We have this witch pot, which you can make potions in. There we go. We already have one. Some signs, some whatever this is, sack, leather sack. We have some sleeping bag. I'm assuming this one should be like this. Boom. We can roast a pig on here. That's cool. Some tent. So this could be a mini survival game. Yes, if you're creating something that's low poly, this is pretty cool. We have the fireplace over here as well with a pan. We can shove that one up there, cook some food for us. We have some grass, all that stuff. Now real quick, one last thing that I didn't look into the showcase, not the showcase, the demo map, is I want to have a look at so we have lit, optimization, shader complexity, and quads. So let's have a quick look at that, because I'm assuming this one is using the opacity mask. Those are not like the materials themselves. So the water is pretty bad. Yeah, that's with the water. What was this actually? That's just a plane. Why is it that bad? Because of the material itself. So okay, so the water is not too great of a material. This one is not too great as well, but the grass seems to be pretty all right. The trees are really good, actually. The trees are really good. They could be a lot worse. It's not too bad. Obviously this part is going to be a little bad, but the water is quite bad when it comes to this type of test, but the trees seem pretty all right. Obviously they're going to jump shapes while they get loaded. They always will be a little bit rougher, as you can see, whenever we really quickly come close to those, but in an actual game we're going to be a lot slower, so there's just going to be a little bit of that in the background, nothing too major nearby. So this is pretty good. So yeah, if you have the one from the previous month, then make sure to check this one out as well. I think these two can go together quite nicely, to be honest. And the last couple of things that I want to look at is, you already probably noticed, we have an icon over here that is the project cleaner, which will technically will remove the unused assets. We're going to see about that, how it works. And there was another one. Yes, so for some reason this thing does not seem to work for me. It instantly, when I hit play, it just freezes and crashes. But essentially this plugin will allow you to create foliage. There's going to be like a database with foliage, and then you can make actors for that type. You provide that in your project settings, and then you can paint the foliage by providing that it's a foliage plugin component for the component class. You can provide those, and then you can paint those and set up all kinds of interactions with those. So this is also like this supports multiplayer. Also it has like a save and load system inside of it. So there's a couple of few new blueprint classes. So yeah, that seemed to be quite a cool thing, but for some reason doesn't seem to be launching. Seems to be crashing my project. Maybe I copied it in the wrong way or something, not quite sure about that. The next one, what I want to have a look at, the last one for today, is going to be the project cleaner. So let's click on this thing, and it's going to go through the whole thing. It's going to scan all the assets. It's going to try to find assets that we are not using, and this plugin will be very useful, because especially if you are not the one who's making your models, and if your team is not the ones who are making these models, but if you're downloading these packs with a bunch of models, a bunch of textures, and maybe half of them you're not even using, and that just takes up a lot of space in them. So here you can see it has given me a bunch of assets that are not getting used. So unused assets, 109 unused assets. So these are the ones that they're saying I'm not using the blue. Okay, so this one's a bit wrong. Where is this? Game blueprints. Oh, okay. Yeah. This one I'm not using. Okay, never mind. 2-person game mode. Yeah, that's the one that I'm not using. Cool. Didn't want to double click that. This one I should be using. So you might have to be a little bit careful with this. Okay, I'm not using the female skeletal. Yeah, it's using the dudes one by default. The foliage is not getting used. Okay, let's just risk it and let's. What if we refresh this? Yeah, it still seems to be cool. It gives us the empty folders, undirect assets, non-engine files, corrupted files. We can exclude some assets over here, I'm assuming. So let's just delete unused and see what happens. Obviously, always before you delete stuff, before you make like major changes, always make sure to do a backup. Obviously, this is just an experimental project for me, so it doesn't matter if this crashes for me. But now if we hit play, so okay, so apparently that was a different animation. So apparently it was not really getting used. I did not delete the example map though. That's pretty interesting because we are not really using that one. Let's go ahead, let's open up this nature thingy because it deleted a couple of things over here. So if we go to the maps, if we go to the showcase, the fire is still there. Okay, so that seems to be cool. Demo map. What's with the lighting? Is it a dynamic or light source, movable? Okay, yeah, so we're not gonna see any unbuilt lighting requests. So I'm assuming the plugin did its job. We still have the fire going on and all that stuff, but yeah, just looks like the plugin could be very useful. Don't just go ahead and like scan for it and delete everything like I just did. Go through this whole thing, make sure you really don't need them right now and you're not gonna need them in the future, because if you do, well, then you messed up, my guy. That's all I can say, because it's usually better to delete things a little bit later on rather than at the very beginning, because then you might mess some things up. And always, like I said, back up your projects regardless if you're deleting stuff or not. You do some kind of a system, you have a progress in it, go ahead, make a backup, because errors do happen. The electricity could cut out, the save could go corrupted, like the project can get corrupted if your electricity shuts down or something goes wrong or the engine crashes. All kinds of errors can happen when things are not getting saved properly. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this month's review. Not too excited myself, but obviously you guys, some of you might. I think that this look right here that we have on my screen right here is the best piece of that whole thing. Other than that, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.